I've always been an optimist when it comes to how technology can impact student learning. That is, when it's implementing with the 7 principles of good practice in mind. I'll explain how social media can be used to promote the 7 principles of good practice, and we'll talk more about those practices in just a minute. First of all, what do I mean by social media? Well, here are a few of the common characteristics. Some of the most popular social media apps include YouTube, Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest, and of course, Facebook. One thing I really love about social media is it can really empower both faculty and students to very easily create content, collaborate, share, and interact. And they can do all of this anytime and anywhere. We no longer have to buy expensive software or rely on a computer programmer to create these interactive and collaborative learning spaces. The 7 principles of good practice in undergraduate education. When Art Chickering and Zelda Gamson developed the 7 principles of good practice, there was no social media. But these practices, first established in 1987, were based on over 50 years of higher education research. These were widely distributed to colleges and universities of higher learning, but as you know, higher education is very slow to change their model of teaching. And moving from a more passive to an active learning environment are something we're still trying to promote today. And these practices in social media are very relevant. Principles of good practice, social media as a lever. Almost 10 years later, Chickering and Gamson, or Chickering and Ehrman, published an essay entitled Implementing the 7 Principles, Technology as a Lever, which described appropriate ways to use computers, video, and telecommunication technologies to advance those 7 principles. Let's take a look at the first 3. Encourage contact between students and faculty. Is this something social media can promote? Definitely. Social networking sites, chat, and all of those can promote frequent student-faculty contact, both in and out of the classroom, which is a very important factor in student motivation and involvement. Let's take a look at the second one, developing reciprocity and cooperation among students. But Chickering and Gamson pointed out that learning is enhanced when it is more like a team effort rather than a solo sport. Good learning, they shared, like good work, is collaborative and social, not competitive and isolated. So this second principle can definitely be enhanced by using social media tools. Encourage active learning. This is something that is emphasized over and over again when we're talking about good teaching. What Chickering and Gamson noted is that learning is not a spectator sport. Students do not learn much just by sitting in class listening to their teachers and memorizing prepackaged assignments and then spitting out answers. They must talk about what they are learning, write reflectively about it, relate it to past experiences, and then apply it to their daily lives. The range of social media tools that can encourage active learning is staggering. So here are some recommendations for using social media in your own teaching. One thing that I've heard from our students, because I've worked with faculty to pilot lots of different technologies, is they don't like being guinea pigs. They expect faculty members to know what they're doing when trying out a new technology, so try to limit yourself to one new tool at a time and keep it simple. Familiarize yourself with the tool before using it in your course. I'm sure you may be familiar with many of these social media for research purposes and personal purposes. Is there a way that you can leverage that tool for your class? If so, give it a try. And then don't forget to ask for instructional design and tech support. As an instructional technologist and instructional designer for many years, I guarantee you, I would have loved to have someone come in and ask for help in incorporating a new technology into their courses. So take advantage of that expertise if it is available to you on your campus. So here are the few references and resources that I talked about during the session. And then I also wanted to point out a more recent reference from Michelle Pacansky Brock. This is a picture of her book, Best Practices for Teaching with Emerging Technologies, which will give you some ideas of how you can use social media in your class to really support these 7 principles of good practice. Thanks for viewing this presentation, and I hope you'll give it a try.